So what we've been talking about for the previous parts of the unit about when Congress votes to increase spending or decrease taxes or increase taxes and decrease spending, all that kind of stuff, when they're voting, when they're making a decision, that's called discretionary fiscal policy. But there's also another type of fiscal policy called non-discretionary fiscal policy. And what this happens is that there's automatic changes to government spending and taxing, but no vote has to be made. So in other words, no decision on the part of Congress or Parliament on any sort of yearly basis has to be made. So changes, presumably to fix the economy, are going to happen automatically. Changes to taxes and spending will happen automatically. One of the automatic changes in taxes can occur if your country has in place a progressive tax rate system. And what a progressive tax rate system is that the tax rate increases as the tax rate is higher for rich people than it is for poor people. So an example of this is going to be U.S. income taxes. It's also going to be Japanese income tax rate system. It's a progressive tax rate system. A regressive tax rate system is going to work the opposite way. It's going to mean that the rich people pay a very small percentage of their income in taxes, and the poor people pay a comparatively larger percentage of their income in taxes. So an example of that is going to be sales tax, or what we call consumption tax in Japan. The proportional tax rate system is one in which the tax rate is the same for everybody. It's the same percentage of people's income that they pay. And there's really no perfect examples of that. All right. Now, the one that we're most concerned with as a automatic stabilizer, as a non-discretionary fiscal policy, is the progressive tax rate system. This acts as non-discretionary fiscal policy that helps the economy. How the progressive tax rate acts as a non-discretionary fiscal policy. In a progressive tax rate system, so like I said before, the tax rate increases as income increases. So if the poor, let's say, pay 0% of their income in income taxes, and the middle class are, let's say, paying 20% and the rich pay 40%, just as an example. In a time of recession, people will have a decreased or a lessened amount of income and will therefore have their tax rate automatically reduced. They're having a lesser amount of income because there's less output in a recession, so companies have fired people or cut people's pay or whatever because it's a recession, bad times. So people are going to be moving to the lower tax brackets. And when they move to the lower tax brackets, then their taxes are automatically going to be that lower tax rate in that tax bracket. So somebody like in the middle class here might lose their job and then become poor. Well, automatically their tax rate goes down to 0% then, and they have had their taxes reduced. If it was discretionary policy, then the Congress would have to argue and bicker and fight about reducing taxes to fix the economy. But in an automatic system like this, in a non-discretionary fiscal policy system like the progressive tax rate system, then people automatically are moving to lower tax brackets, so they automatically have their taxes reduced. So it's nice. There's no lag time. And then the opposite would happen in a time of demand pull inflation. Then people would be like money in the pocket, jobs, 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 jobs. So people could advance in jobs and get better jobs, and they'll move from this bracket here to this bracket over here. And so it acts as a automatic stabilizer because in a time of demand pull inflation, you're trying to decrease spending that's happening, and as people move to higher brackets, automatically their tax rates will increase. So raising taxes in a time of demand pull inflation is what you want to see happen. This does it automatically. That's non-discretionary fiscal policy using a tax system like the progressive tax rate system. Also, there can be automatic changes in government spending. If you have a program like welfare payments or unemployment compensation set up in your government, then like in the United States, they have welfare. What that is, if you're really poor, then you can qualify to get payments from the government. They just pay you. They just give you money because they feel bad that you're poor, and to try to sustain you while you look for another job. If you get these welfare payments when you're out of work, obviously these welfare payments are going to increase in a time of recession because people lose their jobs in a recession, and as people get poor and they have no income, then they qualify for welfare and other unemployment compensations, and therefore the government has to pay out more to these people who are now qualified for welfare, and that's the government paying out money, so automatically government spending is increasing in a time of recession. And there didn't have to be a vote in Congress or anything. Automatically, people are qualifying for welfare, so they get the welfare. And government has to spend the money. So it's government spending increasing in a time of recession.